Good morning, YouTube. So, this is Veteran Mountain Man today, coming with you the Amendments 9 and 10 from the Bill of Rights and the original Constitution of the United States. So, what is the Ninth Amendment? Well, it states, the enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage other rights retained by the people. That basically states that even if it's not mentioned, it's still a right. Now, this gets abused quite a bit, especially by the cultural Marxists in our society, with the whole concept of civil rights. Now, there are such a thing as civil rights. They are the right to be treated civilly in a society that primarily has to do with decency and morality, and not the insanity that the left pushes. It has to do with pure tolerance and not the repressive tolerance that we've discussed on this channel. But basically what this was done for was specifically to stop government overreach. A primary example of that is the EPA currently has been persecuting farmers under the Clean Water Act of the 1970s who have water ponds on their property that are filled with rainwater. They will come in and find these farmers and fine them millions of dollars a day in order to bankrupt them. Well, that directly contradicts Amendment 9, which states that just because there's no mention of it in the Constitution doesn't mean it's not a right. You have the right to collect water on your property. That's just part of property rights. Now, Amendment 10 is the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by into the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So that pretty much states that anything that isn't in the Constitution should not be being done by the federal government. This is where we run into a fundamental flaw with the leftist ideal and traditional constitutionalism, is because this right here denies the federal government the right to do anything that isn't enumerated in the Constitution and its amendments. And that is because the founders wanted to frame a republic that had a controlled central government that was restricted and small and not able to trample a man's rights. Because an elective legislative body can trample a man's rights as easily as a dictator can. It just requires you to convince more that it is for the common good. And this is part of the fundamental flaw with the Marxist ideology, is that they believe that a group of people will innately be good for all members of the group of the people. However, it is much easier to convince a group that an individual or a very small number of individuals are not part of the group and therefore should be treated differently, and therefore it is okay to take from them because they don't count. And that is just part of the collective nature of humanity. You will never be able to remove that from our collective consciousness because everybody is looking out for themselves. And if they're not part of that group being taken from, they are more likely to fall in line and be willing to take. Now, there are some people who are not, that will stand up and say, no, that isn't right, no matter what. But they are far smaller in number and can easily be foisted out of the group and taken from as well, which is what we continue to see happen in the United States. Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am including a link to constitutionus.com where you can read the Constitution and all of the amendments in their original English transcriptions. I am including a link to the National Archives below where you can see actual scanned copies of the documents, as well as a link to Amazon.com where you can buy a digital copy of the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and all the amendments for $3, as well as my link to Minds.com/Veteran Mountain Man. Once again, as always, I encourage you to like and subscribe, comment if you want to discuss any of this below, or you can join me at Minds.com and discuss this topic at length with me there. It's very much like Twitter, but they believe in true free speech and free expression, and people are allowed to actually have dissenting discourse, unlike Twitter. Thank you all very much, and have yourself a lovely day.